Hare Krishna Mataji, this is Vrajabhakti Devi Dasi from Columbus, Ohio.
Hare Krishna, Vrajabhakti Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you Mataji for joining and giving your registration. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Vinita Dhandarika Mataji, all glories to Prabhupada. Then Guru Maharaj is my humble obeisances to you and all the devotees. This is Krishna Kumari Devi Dasi from
Hare Krishna, Krishna Kumari Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you Mataji for joining and giving your registration. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Vrita Gandharvika Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Please accept my humble obeisances. All goes to Srila Prabhupada. This is Radharani Devidasi from Baltimore.
Hare Krishna, Radharani Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you Mataji for your beautiful association. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, is there anybody who would like to introduce themselves?
Hare Krishna, Vinita Gandharvi Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, Srila Prabhupada, Srila Gurudev Ki Jai, Vrinda.
Hare Krishna, Vrinda Gopika Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you Mataji for your sweet association. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranamam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. This is Swapna from Baltimore.
Hare Krishna, Sapna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you Mataji for your association. Hare Krishna. Is there anybody who would like to introduce themselves?
Hare Krishna, Vinita Gandharvika Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. This is Padmasaki Devidasi from Florida.
Hare Krishna, Padmasaki Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you Mataji for your sweet association. Hare Krishna. Is there anybody who would like to introduce themselves? Prabhuji already on the call. No, Prabhuji did not join it.
Should I call him, Mataji?
Yeah, Mataji, one. Yeah, just. Is there anybody before we start the class? Is there anybody who would like to introduce themselves? Please go ahead and introduce.
Hare Krishna Mataji, this is Vivek from India. All glories to assembled devotees. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna, Vivek Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for your association. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, Mataji, Prabhuji is coming.
Okay. Then we'll start the recording, Mataji, by the way. What do you say?
Yeah, we can start recording and can do introduction.
Hare Krishna, welcome everyone to Bhakti Sangha Japa conference call. Today we are very fortunate to have His Grace Brajmohan Prabhuji to enlighten us on topic Srimad Bhagavatam, 5th canto, chapter 1, 2nd verse onwards. I would like to hand over the call to Tiffany Mataji to give brief introduction about Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, Tiffany Mataji. Over to you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees. His Grace Braj Mohan Prabhu is a monk, a life coach, and an inspirational speaker. Prabhuji is a disciple of His Holiness Radhanath Swami and a resident monk at ISKCON Chowpatty in India. He is a student's mentor at the Indian Institute of Technology, Bombay, where he also earned a B.Tech degree. Prabhuji has a Master of Science degree in quantum physics from the University of Illinois, Chicago. And Braj Mohan Prabhuji has given seminars on science, spirituality, leadership, relationships, and self-development. He has been speaking on various topics at prestigious universities and at several corporations in the US and India for over a decade. Using ancient wisdom for current dilemmas, his message inspires the audience to think deep, act right, and live full. Hare Krishna. Vinita Gandharvika Mataji. You can take over now.
Yes, Mataji. I'm waiting for Prabhuji.
Prabhuji is here? No.
Not yet, Mataji. I pause the recording. We can chant by then. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Krishna, Hare Ram Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare Ram Krishna Krishna Hare Ram Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Ram Hare Krishna Ram Hare
Hare
Krishna
Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna,
Hare
Hare Ram,
Krishna
Hare
Krishna
Ram,
Hare Ram
Hare
Hare Ram,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram,
Hare Ram
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare
Krishna
Ram,
Krishna Hare Ram
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Ram
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Ram,
Hare
Hare Ram,
Ram,
Ram
Hare
Ram,
Ram,
Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare
Hare
Ram, Hare
Krishna,
Ram, Hare
Hare
Ram,
Krishna,
Hare
Krishna
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Hare
Krishna Hare
Ram, Hare
Hare
Ram,
Ram, Hare
Hare
Ram,
Ram,
Ram
Hare
Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Hare
Krishna
Ram, Hare
Krishna,
Ram, Ram Ram,
Hare
Hare Krishna,
Ram,
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Ram,
Krishna
Hare Ram,
Krishna, Hare
Ram,
Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare
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 Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna
Hare
Krishna,
Ram, Hare Ram, Ram
Hare
Ram,
Ram,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Ram, Hare
Hare
Ram, Ram Ram,
Krishna,
Hare
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 Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Krishna Krishna,
Ram,
Hare Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare Krishna,
Hare
Hare Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna
Hare
Krishna, Hare
Krishna,
Hare
Krishna.
Ram.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji is on the call. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much Prabhuji for joining and giving your valuable time and association this morning. Please take over the call Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna Braj Mohan Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Yes,
Is someone displaying the verse?
Yeah, yes, Prabhuji.
If you want, you can also display it, Prabhu. You are the co-host. Whatever is convenient, we can also display for you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Okay, you can display it because that will take time for me.
Okay. Yes, Prabhu. We will do it from our side.
Yeah. Five point 1.2, right?
Yes, Prabhuji. Yes.
5.5. Okay, I think seems like I noted the wrong verse. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Canto 5, Chapter 5, Lord Rishabdev's teachings to his...
No, Prabhuji, chapter 1, Prabhuji.
Chapter 1. That's what I was thinking, that how did I...
Yeah.
Yeah. Activities of Maharaj Priyavrat, text number 2. Because when I opened just now, it opened 5.5.2, so I was confused. ननूनं मुक्तसङ्गानां तादृशानां द्विजर्षभा गृहेष्वपि निवेशोऽयं पुंसां भवितुम् अर्हति. Not Noonam, certainly, Muktasanganam, who are free from attachment, Tadrishanam, such, Dvija Rishabha, O greatest of the Brahmanas, Griheshu, to family life, Abhinivesha, excessive attachment, I am this, Pumsam, of persons, Bhavitum, to be, arhati is possible. Translation: devotees are certainly liberated persons. Therefore, O greatest of the Brahmanas, they cannot possibly be absorbed in family affairs. Purport: in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, it is said that by executing devotional service to the Lord, one can understand the transcendental position of the living being and the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Supreme Personality of Godhead cannot be understood by any means except bhakti. The Lord confirms this in the Srimad Bhagavatam 11.14.21. Bhaktya ham ekaya grahaya. Only by executing devotional service can one appreciate me. Similarly, in Bhagavad Gita 18.55, Lord Krishna says, Bhaktya mam abhijanati. Simply by discharging devotional service, one can understand me. Thus, for a bhakta to become attached to family affairs is impossible, since a bhakta and his associates are liberated. Everyone is searching after ananda or bliss, but in the material world there can never be any bliss. It is only possible in devotional service. Attachment for family affairs and devotional service are incompatible. Therefore, Maharaj Parikshit was somewhat surprised to hear that Maharaj Priyavrat was simultaneously attached to devotional service and to family life. We'll take 2 more verses, text number 3 and 4. Mahatam kalu viprarshe uttama shloka padayo chhaya nivritta chittanam makutumbe sprihamati. Elevated Mahatmas who have taken shelter of the lotus feet of Personality of Godhead are fully satiated by the shade of those lotus feet. Their consciousness cannot possibly become attached to family members. Purport: Shri Narottam Das Thakur has sung Nitai Pada Kamala Koti Chandra Shushitala Echaya Jagata Judai. He describes the shade of the lotus feet of Lord Nityananda as being so nice and cooling that all materialists who are always in the blazing fire of material activities may come under the shade of his lotus feet and be fully relieved and satiated. The distinction between family life and spiritual life can be experienced by any person who has undergone the tribulations of living with a family. One who comes under the shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord never becomes attracted by the activities of family life. As stated in the Bhagavad Gita 2.59, Param Drishtva Nivartate. One who gives up lower engagements when he experiences a higher taste. Thus, when one becomes detached from family life, as soon as he comes under the shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord. Next verse we'll take 5.1.4. Samshayo yam mahan brahman dhara gara sutadishu saktasya yat siddhira bhut krishne cha matirachyuta. The king continued, O great Brahmana, this is my great doubt. How was it possible for a person like King Priyavrat, who was so attached to wife, children and home, to achieve the topmost infallible perfection in Krishna consciousness? King Parikshit wondered how a person so attached to wife, children and home could become so perfectly Krishna conscious. Prahlad Maharaj has said, Matirna Krishne parata svatova mito bipadyeta grihavratana. A grihavrata, one who has taken a vow to execute family duties, has no chance to become Krishna conscious. This is because most grihavratas are guided by sense gratification and therefore gradually glide down to the darkest region of material existence. Adanta gobir vishatam tamishram. How can they possibly become perfect in Krishna consciousness? Maharaj Parikshit asked Shukdev Goswami to resolve this great doubt. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshuru Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातां सहगना रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनासहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगना ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तुते तप्तकाञ्चना गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौरभक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. It's my great pleasure and privilege to be with the devotees here on the Bhakti Sangha conference group, where all of you are so sincerely every day discussing the Srimad Bhagavatam. And here in Chopati, tomorrow we are going to discuss the last verse of the 12th canto. So the summum bonum, all the Vedic scriptures is Srimad Bhagavatam. So tomorrow all of us are excited here to be there for the conclusion of the Bhagavatam. And for your information, it had taken for us 26 years to come to this point, because the Bhagavatam has 18,000 verses, and after 18,000 verses there are 14,000 actual shlokas are there, and even in that around 11,000 to 10,000, I don't remember the number, just a minute. Prabhupada has written purports. So 26 years is a lot. I was not there when it began. So 26 years, so this is 2021. So 20 years, 26 years means around 94. The first canto had begun, and so maybe similar timeline is for Bhakti Sangha Japa group. Currently you are all on 5th canto, and hopefully all of you and me will be alive to discuss the last verse of the Srimad Bhagavatam when it happens on the Bhakti Sangha Japa conference. And sometimes the verses are combined, like today we combined a few verses because of short purports. Maybe we may reach quicker. So let's come to the verse, and it's very surprising that Parikshit Maharaj, in the beginning of the 5th canto, he is asking about Priyavrat Maharaj's involvement with family life, and how is it that he was simultaneously doing both, being in the best of the having the best of the both worlds, being a devotee and also having nice sense gratification. And this was the boon that Dhruva Maharaj had got when Dhruva Maharaj, before this, it is the story of Dhruva that was discussed in the 4th canto. And Dhruv Maharaj, in the Dhruv Maharaj story, Dhruv Maharaj is the son of Uttanapad, and Priyavrat Maharaj is the brother of Uttanapad. And so Dhruv Maharaj, when he just within 6 months of intense devotion service, when he observed, when he came in the audience of Sri Vishnu, that time Lord Vishnu gives him this benediction that you will be there in the material world, ruling the planet, and but you will not deviate from bhakti. And therefore you don't worry, because Dhruv Maharaj had no desire to go back to the kingdom, and in fact he was thinking that I've come here to ask for the greatest kingdom in the universe, even the bigger reign than his forefather Brahmaji. But as soon as he saw the Lord, he understood what a paltry and what a petty desire he had in coming to the Lord, and therefore he immediately begs forgiveness. He regrets for having such a desire, but Lord, knowing that if I don't fulfill the desire of Dhruv Maharaj, then later people will kind of question this, that the Lord will satisfy so much that the desire that I have currently he will not fulfill, and therefore I don't want even to go to him. But Lord Krishna, he fulfilled, although at that time Dhruv Maharaj didn't had any desire to have that kingdom, because he had a past desire. The Lord insisted that it be fulfilled, and the main reason was not that okay, I don't want people to blame me. How can both in the beginning of the 5th chapter, this is what Arjuna asks, that all kinds of processes, different yajnas, is to come to the platform of jnana, platform of knowledge, and by that knowledge of devotion service one should absorb fully in the Supreme Lord. Why are you asking me to again Attishtotishta Bharata? Why are you asking me again to stand up and fight? And this was the so most people, and Prabhupada mentions this, is most people, when they hear about Krishna consciousness or devotional service, or the ultimate end of all our activities is to fully serve the Supreme Lord, then they kind of mistake that, okay, if that is the aim, let me just immediately get there. And Krishna mentions that this is immaturity, this is ayogata, to be able to give up one's responsibilities or one's impurities, not being purified, and directly come to the highest platform. And when one does this, it's Krishna expressed in the in the 5th chapter that it's not that he'll be successful in that. It will be very difficult, dukkham, there will be a lot of difficulties that he will face, mainly because there is that internal challenges, you are not fully satiated yet, and because you are not fully satiated yet, you crave for material desires, and therefore when they pop up, then you have no recourse to again fall back. And one of the devotees was saying that previously many people hearing about renunciation, about the purpose of life, or being fed up with their jobs, their whatever their occupations, in the previous ages there were many people that were going to the Himalayas, and at those times going to the Himalayas, it was not a two-way ticket. Now we all, whenever we go to Badrinath or any place like Kedarnath, Chardham, we all book our return tickets also. But in those days, there was no return ticket that was booked. It was okay, you're going there till the end of your life, you just meditate there and that's it. But most people could not take up those hardships. One of our devotees was saying that long back somebody had gone to Vrindavan from here, from our Chopati temple, saying that I'll do bhajan in Radha Kund, I'll do bhajan in Vrindavan, all this, engaging into institutional services where there is sometimes bureaucracy and different things. So there is that anxieties. So let me just give up all that, just let me just go and be in Vrindavan. And so he went there and he was there for a few months till the winter came. And when winter in Vrindavan is very intense, literally nothing can stop that cold. And this devotee was really missing that warm situation, especially Bombay is very warm. Even in winter time it is quite warm. Of course in US it is very cold, but then you have heaters and other ways by which you can not understand the severity of cold. So this devotee, he started to miss the temple, and immediately made some excuse that okay, I should be back because I should serve my Guru Maharaj or other things. And then he came back, and same way some people give up their tapasya, their resolve when there is intense heat. Even in Vrindavan there is also intense heat. The heat literally Govardhan, it boils in the time of summer. So at one situation people may feel that going away to the field is the best thing to do, but when you are there, it is still the material world, still the dualities of material nature are going to affect, and then you are going to still act by according to your nature. And therefore in the fifth Krishna recommends that one cannot neglect one's inborn nature that is there, and one will be driven to act that way. I was few days back, I was studying something for hours together, and then I wanted to take a break, and then I went into Vrindavan forest with my bead bag chanting, which is just next to me, next to the place where I live. And when I went into the forest, as I was chanting in the Vrindavan forest, I saw that things were not properly set. There was some branches that were on the path, then there was something that was not clean, and me being little bit systematic, I started to try to fix those things. And immediately this reflection came. I came here to I was anyway making some kind of presentation, and I came here to just chant my rounds, but here I am trying to fix things. And this is how nature is, that you cannot, no matter wherever you go, the nature will follow you. And to deny one's nature is a very difficult task. It's not that it cannot be done, but it is usually a difficult task. And unless one is highly absorbed in a higher aspects of devotional service, unless he has a shelter in bhakti, either in the holy name or in the Srimad Bhagavatam, the difficulties that will come will pull away someone. So therefore here in Srimad Bhagavatam, here Parikshit Maharaj is quite curious that Maharaj Priyavrat, he was first a brahmachari. He was and then he got into grihastha life. And so why did he get into a difficult situation, a very risky situation, when he was already very well placed in renunciation? And so the reason for Maharaj Parikshit Priyavrat coming back to family life was not a reason, typical reason of okay, his senses were becoming restless, so therefore his mind was not peaceful, and therefore he had to come back. The story is that of his father, who had this responsibility to populate the world. His service was needing help, and he wanted his son to come and help him. And initially, of course, he didn't agree, but then finally, when his guru Narad Muni came, and finally when Brahmaji came, understanding this is what the devotees want from me, he agreed. And then he also got this benediction because he pleased the order of his guru and order of his superiors. So he got this benediction, and along with the blessings, of course, it just because there were blessings doesn't mean there won't be any difficulty. He had every person will be tested in this world, and he was also tested. And I just want to discuss some aspect of the 5th chapter, that it is not that if when we give up our activities that we become purified. It is to know how to do our activities that we become capable to go to the next step. A person who is not able to walk, it's not that because he is not able to walk that then he'll try to run. He cannot even run if he cannot walk. And this story is said by devotees that once there was a nice big Mercedes, and that went into repair. The owner didn't know what was wrong, and then he took the car to the repair shop. What do you call the body shop there, the auto body shop, and the guy, he just saw all around the engine different parts, and then he fixed one particular screw, and then the engine started and everything was normal. And then the bill came for fixing the car. That was around $2,000, and the owner, he became very alarmed, and he said that how can you charge me $2,000 for just fixing one screw? This is injustice. This is not right. Then the car mechanic, he said that to find out which screw was loose is the most of the money, like $1,950 was for that, and then fixing the screw was $50. And the same way, it is to know where we are going wrong is very important. Otherwise, in doing our activities, sometimes we may go overboard. Just like sometimes in parenting, parenting is about training, is about giving the child good values. But in training, if the child doesn't also receive love, then he'll become a very hard-hearted person or a very emotionally insecure person. And the name of giving lot of love, if he neglect to ensure that he is properly being raised, understanding that not everything is a rosy picture in this world. So without proper knowledge, if somebody takes up a responsibility, somebody takes up a service, then most probably he will do some harm either to himself, or he will not do that service well. So therefore, if one has to know how to act in this world, and because Privrat Maharaj, the whole Bhagavatam is of examples. I was telling in recent Bhagavatam class, Krishna says in the 4th chapter, "O Arjuna, if you want to know what is the path to liberation, then he says, Bahava Jnana Tapasa, many in the past have achieved this, and Purvair Purvataram Kritam, that in the past there are many great souls that have done this path. So therefore, if you also follow this, then you will also achieve it." And although Krishna said that in the past there are many great souls who have achieved perfection, and all we need to do is just follow in their footsteps. How do we exactly do it, and who are those people that we need to follow? Because there are so many in the history how do we know that who is to be followed? And therefore the Srimad Bhagavatam is that selected cuisine, the best episodes in the entire history of creation, by which we can, if we just learn the proper lessons from these different personalities, then and follow in their footsteps, then you will also achieve the Supreme Lord's lotus feet very soon. And instead of doing that, if we just try to fix ourselves different nuts, because just like when I used to ride a bicycle, I remember there are different nuts even in the bicycle. There are some nuts that hold the brake, there are some that help the wheel to be run, and some nuts are supposed to be loose, not too loose that they fall out, but not too tight. And sometimes out of enthusiasm you may try to fix all the nuts very tight, and then when you pick up the cycle, the tires won't move, because those those nuts that were keeping the whole tire in shape, you glued them so much to the axle that now they cannot even move. And then the brakes are there, so we need to know which one should to be dealt with how much, and that understanding, that wisdom we get from the Bhagavatam, when we hear different stories, okay, in different situations how did different devotees act. And also of course Mahabharata, Ramayana also, they go with the same thing. And even in our body, there is this whole therapy called as acupuncture. There are different points in the body that connect to different organs, and an expert, he will know where to press and how much to press, and when he presses in the proper place, in the proper manner, then the pain that is there in some part of the body just magically vanishes. But just because okay, I need to press different points, you keep pressing, what to speak of pressing, there is this acupuncture, the needle therapy. If you just try to puncture your whole body, you'll actually die, you'll not do any good. So therefore we need to know where to engage our senses, where how do we live in this world, because the nature that we carry, it is not just through intellectual understanding that it is going to go away. It is going to get, only way out of our nature is to purify our nature. And sometimes it is asked, okay, as monks, as renunciates, brahmacharis, you have given up family life, you have given up different things, so isn't it against the principles of the Gita? Because Gita speaks about you should not give up, you should not run away from the battlefield, but in fact you should do justice to the duties, the responsibilities that have been taken up. And yes, that's true. And so none of the brahmacharis, none of the people that join here quit their family life, quit their having a wife or children. They are not accepted usually. Only those either that have completed their duties of raising the family and children to a particular time, where after which they can handle themselves, or before they enter the school, before they enter that responsibility, they take a decision. But of course they also have their parents with them, their other maybe other responsibilities. So as much as possible one should try to fulfill those responsibilities. And so the reason why like there is a renounced order, there is a brahmachari ashram currently in ISKCON, is because we need some devotees who can exclusively focus their time and energy in trying to purify themselves, in trying to go deeper into Shastra, in trying to spend time to preach the message. Otherwise usually it's difficult to travel and preach unless somebody has a very good job that allows one to spare a lot of time. Usually most of the jobs take lot of time, and also because of the passion that is involved, one also needs to needs the the desires usually increase, and therefore one needs some kind of recluse for such passion. And but even as brahmacharis, even as sannyasis, one cannot give up one's nature. That nature that you have got, part of it is that we know we adopt to the devotional service, we adopt to all the practices, the morning program, the lifestyle, the diet and everything. But all this is just external. Internally, what is there is you have a particular kind of outlook. Some brahmacharis have a very scholarly kind of mindset, so they need to do justice to that through engaging in the scriptures. And some other brahmacharis devotees may have a nature by which they cannot absorb into scriptures, but they can manage very well events and different things, and they will do that. So even within the brahmachari ashram, renounced order, different devotees engage according to their nature, so that that proclivity that they have is fulfilled, and through that, because they are serving the Lord, now slowly and gradually that proclivities are purified, and then it comes a stage where it is not those shelters, they were not the shelters, but the shelter shifts from engaging in your nature to actually serving Krishna and being absorbed in the holy names. And therefore Krishna, the reason why he comes to this world is to give us that alternative, because if we don't have an alternative of being absorbed in Krishna's pastimes, in Krishna's holy names, in serving devotees, then we'll be just stuck in trying to divert our nature in service to some infinite energy or to service to the society, but that won't fully purify us as much as being with the pure supreme Lord and his names. So just like when a ball comes to a bowler, the batsman has to know whether I should defend it or whether I should play it. There will be that ambiguity. So therefore whenever desires come to us like balls, an expert knows when to when to give in to a desire because it is favorable, and when to not give in to a desire because it is unfavorable, and you may actually harm yourself. And the more one spends time with trying to do this properly, the more he will gain understanding and expertise about himself and also about the situation. I was just hearing one class where one devotee was explaining the journey of life in a marriage party. Usually, in a marriage party where when people go, there's so many things that are happening. As soon as you go, at the reception, there is nice fragrance that is being put upon. Happen as part of marriage. But the main activity in a marriage is the bride and the groom are coming together, and the but instead of that, when I was preaching in Somaya College, next to that it was a marriage ground, and in this in this marriage ground, whenever there was a party, all these college students, hostel students, they knew that marriage means nice food. So somehow or other they used to enter into this marriage party dressed as dressed in a good fashion, and when anyone used to ask them which side are you from, So then these students used to say, which side are you from? Then if they say, okay, we are from the bride side, then these boys used to say we are from the groom side, because there is no, they are not aware who is who. And anyway, the names are displayed in the entrance only, so they can at least speak the names. And then used to go and eat, and then they come back. So once what happened, this one boy was saying that they went into this party, and then they asked that somebody asked them, who are you? And it was not a marriage party, it was some kind of anniversary, some kind of, I think, birthday, somebody's birthday. And as soon as they asked that which side are you from, groom side or bride side, so immediately they were caught, because it was not any bride side or groom side, it was one particular family's birthday party, and almost everybody that was there knew everyone, so they were immediately caught. So but I experienced this, that sometimes when you go to a function, the main focus seems to be the food that is available there, or somebody may just become absorbed in the drinks that are served there, or somebody may be absorbed into some other music that is being played there. But all these are just byproducts of the main activity, that is to link and connect with the couple. And if one doesn't, but if one gets absorbed, like today morning Gauji Prabhu was giving, that once one guru had taken all his disciples to the Vaikuntha Loka, and when the guru was at the Vaikuntha Loka knocking, and Vishnu opened the doors, of course it's a imaginary story, and he said, the guru said, immediately offered his obeisances to Lord Vishnu, and he said that I brought all my disciples, they have all been purified, so I brought all of them into Vaikuntha. And then Vishnu said, I don't see anyone there behind you. And when the guru, the sadhu saw, there was no one behind him. And then he wondered, where did all this go? We all started together from the earthly planet. So then he went back searching, and then he found some disciples became attracted in Siddhaloka, somebody became attracted in Gandharva Loka, somebody became tempted, okay, let me stop for some time. Yeah, the Govardhan the parikrama, the guru has gone with all other disciples, he won't notice me. So let me just stop here and get some dance, pleasure of the Apsaras dance or other things. So in this slowly everybody became diverted in other things, and the main purpose of that trip, of that visit, was to meet Lord Vishnu, and that was forgotten. So in our life also, it is not that we don't do work, we don't receive results and other things, but all these are just byproducts, and the main purpose of life is to connect to that couple, Radha and Krishna. And but we become and I know most of the in marriages, the main discussion of the marriage, or even in ISKCON, main discussion of the festival is the menu, what was there in the menu. But having prasad, of course, it's a purificatory activity, but we should see our tendency is that we become so diverted with some byproducts, some transient other things, but not get attached to any of that, or thinking that, okay, these are the main things. So same way Maharaj Privrat, he was given this service, and because he was very conscious of the Supreme Lord and the purpose of life, so he didn't get diverted. And Parikshit Maharaj is asking, because it is very difficult to see this on a human platform, because most of us become tempted by something or other, and our devotion service becomes compromised because of some sense gratification we find. So therefore it is very important that we keep hearing, so that we don't stop by any other place and we forget to go on the main route. Sometimes it happens, when people go on local trains, on an outstation train, that they get down to buy something and they become absorbed in eating that, or that the main train leaves. So let that not happen with our life, that yes, we have taken different responsibilities, different things, but all these are in pursuit of purifying our heart. That's what Krishna also says in the 5th chapter. It is not to get attached to the result or to the action, or being the one who is acting, or being the one who is actually helping others, instead of being any of this, that I am doing all this only to purify myself. Sangam tyaktva atma shuddhaye, only for purifying my heart I am doing these activities. So if somebody has that consciousness of, being purifying my heart and glorifying the Lord, then he will not get
Hare Krishna, there is lot of breaks, Prabhuji, in your connection. Now you're back, Prabhu. There was a break.
Oh, when was the break?
Just few seconds. You were explaining. That's not much, Prabhu.
Okay. So I was just saying that let's not have any blockages in our connection to the Supreme Lord, like a blocked wash basin, something. Let's keep that clean with regularly hearing and chanting, so that we don't become overwhelmed. And even if we become overwhelmed, Krishna will be there to smash our difficulties if we take shelter of him. So that's a short message that we can learn. From Maharaj Priyavrat. Any questions?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you so much for the beautiful class. I really like the point that you are speaking about. Don't forget the main goal of the life, and we just try to.
And here.
Yeah, Hare Krishna Mataji, your voice is very low.
My voice, Mataji?
Yeah, now it's good.
Okay. Maybe I thought, okay. Sorry, Mataji. So, Prabhuji, it was so beautiful class. I like the point that you are telling about the train example, and also the any events that we do. It's our focus is diverted from Krishna. Then the other things. Yes, prasadam is also important. But as you said, that is true, because we are very busy in arranging other different things. We forgot our main consciousness towards Krishna. Looking at the deities, or how it's we are very busy with other services around on that day, especially. Then concentrating more on Krishna, that really happens. I feel for me it happens a lot. Thank you, Prabhu, for stressing on that point. Very beautiful class. Now I request, if any devotees have any questions or realizations, please go ahead and ask.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. I don't have a question, but I just would like to say that it was a very beautiful class. Thank you so much. And I really appreciate the point that you made about, thinking of service as purifying ourselves, carrying us to go back to Krishna. I think that's really a beautiful point, because sometimes we get so wrapped up in our service that we're not keeping the focus on Krishna. We get wrapped up in the little details. So I really appreciate that. Thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandot Pranam. So Prabhuji, we are hearing the Bhagavatam for the continuously for the first time. So this Maharaj Priyavata, this story comes again, like Dhruva Maharaj's.
Yeah. Comes, in the 4th canto only. is in short. Usually the way Bhagavatam expands is Shukadeva Goswami speaks something in short, and then it is Maharaj Parikshit's curiosity to draw out more from that brings forth the next canto or the next few chapters. So same thing here, that Maharaj Shukadeva Goswami had mentioned this, that let me read that in the 4th canto. He says in the text 26 that now that I have finished telling about descendants of first son of Swayambhu Manu, I shall try to relate the activities of descendants of Priyavrat. And he says that although Maharaj Priyavrat received instructions from great sage Narada, he is still engaged in ruling the earth. After fully enjoying material positions, he divided his property among his sons. He then attained a position by which he could return home back to Godhead. So this was this particular verse, 27th verse of chapter 31, made Maharaj Parikshit curious, that he was under the shelter of Narada Muni, and then he started to rule, and then again he went back to Godhead. So the ruling of the kingdom, what was the need? Because he could have directly gone. So why did he get into family life? Is it that and if he was attached to family life, then how did he return back? So if he had no desire, why did he come? And if he had a desire, then how did he go back? So therefore that question of Parikshit Maharaj was asked. And then Shukadeva Goswami, so an entire 5th chapter opens up with that question.
Yeah, Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Thank you, Prabhu, for some very specific points to understand that question. Prabhuji, you mentioned something from chapter 4 of Bhagavad Gita.
Yeah.
Can you, it just passed through my mind. I didn't clearly get that point.
Yeah. In the Krishna, after he explains the descent of his avatar, the Janma Karma Chame Divyam Yo Evam Yo Veti Tatota Tyaktva Deham Punarjanma Naiti Mameti So Arjuna. So after mentioning this, that anybody that who understands me in truth, he will never take a birth. So to substantiate that it is not a very difficult thing, many in the past, just like in any school, you show the success rate. So to show that success rate of somebody hearing about him and becoming freed of all attachments, Krishna speaks 4.10. Vitaraga Bhaya Krodha Man Mayama Upashrita Bhavo Jnana Tapasa Puta Madbhava Agata. So many in the past have achieved success by just understanding me in truth. And after that, he explains how if somebody cannot fully purify himself, then there is the Varanashram system, then there is a demigod worship, all that. And then he, verse number 15, 4.15, he says again, Evam Jnatva Kritam Karma Purvair Api Mumukshubhi. Understand, Arjuna, even through this indirect paths, in the past many have achieved the liberation. Therefore, Kuru Karma Eva Tasmatvam. Therefore, you act Purvair Purvataram Kritam, as they have acted in this world. So this verse is one of the kind of seed verses to know whom to follow. That in the past there are many whom to follow. So the link between Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita is that explanation of different activities of different devotees, how they acted in this world without becoming entangled. So that's the point I was making.
So you're saying that here Bhagavatam gives us ample examples.
Yes, ample examples, ample stories for us to learn.
Okay. Thank you very much, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Prabhuji, thank you for such a relishing class today you have given. Prabhuji, my question is that you said that we should not keep any blockage in the path of Krishna consciousness, so that it blocks our path towards Krishna. So we should focus more on chanting and hearing. So Prabhuji, sometimes while chanting the holy name, our mind distracts somewhere. So how to concentrate on the holy name more and take away the mind from the distractions?
There is just that story that once there was a basket. The guru told the disciple to bring water in that basket, and he was trying every day, but that basket had so many holes that all the water used to leak out, and he was not understanding that why is my guru giving such a service, like some like our chantings, so many distractions, is it of any help? And then although he was very dutifully doing that, and very soon after few days he asked his guru that why are you telling me to bring in this basket, because this basket has so many holes, and what's the purpose that is being served? And then the guru said that through those by bringing water in that basket, you have watered all the plants in the middle, and now that these plants are growing, the way the proper mixture for me to block those holes will come from these plants. So therefore I gave you this service, that unless the plants grow it won't happen, and also simultaneously all the other things that were not really part of this basket became purified. So in our stage, when we chant, we try to do best as possible, but it is to clean our hearts, Atma Shuddhaye, it is to clean our hearts. But then the distractions, if we pay attention to it, then that intention of actually wanting to Krishna is not there. So it's a struggle, because January 15, the Makar Sankranti happened. So that is the time it is said the Uttarayan starts, and some people say that okay, Bhishma, they waited till then and then he departed on January 15th. But then in February there is a Bhishmashtami that comes, and there is stories that it was on Bhishmashtami that Bhishmadev left the world. So which one of them is true? Did Bhishmadev leave on Makar Sankranti or on Bhishmashtami? So the scholars say, the devotees who have try to study this, they say that it is on Bhishmashtami that the Bhishmadev left the world, although Uttarayan started on January 15, Makar Sankranti. But even before that, there are some traditions in India that say, there is a connection to to your question. So in December there is that winter solstice, the farthest point that the sun goes away from the earth. So that is some people consider, because then the sun stops and then he starts to move back, and so that is considered as the starting of Uttarayan. So there are three. One comes in December, Uttarayan, another comes in January, another comes in February. So which one is Uttarayan? All three according to the understanding. So when you stop your downward journey, when you stop your bad habits, that is considered to be the sign of progress. So and then when from Makara Sankranti, the sun god, he starts to turn, because once he applies the brakes in December, it takes some time for him to come to a full halt, and then when he starts to turn, the turning also takes time, and from Makar Sankranti till Bhishmashtami he starts to turn, and then on the day of Bhishmashtami he actually starts to go towards north. So if for sun god it takes so much time to change his trajectory, what to speak of all of us? He is such a powerful devata, and it is just a vehicle. But for us, it is our whole conditionings and so many lifetimes of desires So it will take time, but we have to stop our bad habits and slowly turn towards Krishna. And Krishna considers even that as progress, even that as Uttarayan, even that as somebody who is coming to me. Arto artharthi jignashu jnanita udara sarva ete. Krishna says all of them are very glorious because they are all turning to me. So if we have that intention, it will take time based on the intensity and also the amount of anarthas we may have. So we have to be patient. Utsaha, Nishchaya, Dhairya. That verse is our kind of guiding light. Okay, Gaur Prabhu. I see on chat somebody asking a question. Is Vivek Prabhu, do you want to read the question so everybody can hear?
That's all the question.
Okay.
So sometimes I think family members show like so much love. And
Okay.
Too attached.
Yeah.
So can we channelize this love towards Krishna, and like how can we come out of it? Or should we keep it simple and let things go as it is? Or how? The voice is not coming, Prabhuji.
Why voice is not coming?
Yes. Now we can hear. Yeah.
Anything in this world, it has to be used in a proper proportion. Just like milk is there. Is milk good or bad? Depends on how much you drink and when you drink, and what type of milk do you drink. So same way, the love in this world, if you are able to properly take it, then it is very good. You are seeing Krishna's love through that love that you are receiving, and you are able to, and because of that love you are giving that person that opportunity to make them, okay, if you love me so much, then why don't you take to bhakti, because I would like you to take to bhakti. And if it is just mundane pleasing our senses and not really caring for our growth, then that is not truly love. It is love without knowledge, love without wisdom, and that will be harmful. Just like Karna's love. Karna had love, but that love was because he felt obliged for what he did, because of that obligation, even when his friend was going in wrong track, he just supported him. So that's not really caring for the ultimate welfare of your those whom you love. But if you love someone, then you care for them, you want to do the best for them, and the best thing for anyone is to become Krishna conscious, and we try to do that. And even for us, that if you become we become lost in that love and we forget Krishna, then the loss is of them also, because if they remember it, love a devotee, then they have great chance than just loving in some mundane relationship. Okay, Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you.
Thank you.
So it kind of becomes a bond, a triangular bond.
Yes.
Loving Krishna and like family members loving
Yes.
me, we can connect all three together.
Right.
In some other way.
It can love in this world can become a very helpful tool to connect to Krishna if we channelize it properly. But if we disconnect it from Krishna, if we don't make that effort, then it will keep you in that place. It's not that it's going to degrade you, but it will keep you in that place. And once that opportunity is not there, and once that love is not there, you will try to look for something else which may be more degrading to you. And another thing with love in this world is that it is temporary. No matter how much we want to have that person, or that mood won't sustain, everything becomes subjected to degradation. So therefore, but with Krishna, that won't happen, because Krishna is Achyuta, he is infallible, and therefore any love that we have, if we connect it through Krishna, then that becomes also non-dwindling.
Thank you for your deep listener association. Thank you for coming up here and taking care of all Vaishnava. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you all the Vaishnavas. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyo cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji, once again for your enlightening class today. We are very, very grateful to you. We look forward for your association again in the future. I would like to offer my obeisances to you and all the Vaishnavas assembled on the call. Vancha kalpa tarobhyasya kripa sindhubhya eva cha Vrinda ki jai, Srila ki jai, Mohan Prabhuji ki jai. Hare